Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Lesley O'Toole. I'm a contributor to Backstage magazine and assorted British magazines. I'm very pleased to introduce one of the stars of the fantastic Ashby. He's only 20 years old. You know him from Palo Alto, The Fault in Our Stars, and Paper Towns. Please welcome Nat Wolff.
Hi, guys.
So people that have seen the films that you're already well known for might think that this is quite a departure. I mean, your other films are certainly not conventional teen fare, but this is a bit of a sea change for you. And
There's a little more murder in this one.
Just a tad. And I just wondered if the slightly more adult themes were appealing to you.
Yeah, I mean, I immediately responded to the script when I got it. I liked, the ideas of being a man and what that means, and kind of, exploring what that is for somebody my age and exploring what that is for somebody Mickey's age, and how both ideas are kind of flawed. And then I just really loved Tony. I met with Tony and I really loved him, and I've been a huge Mickey Rourke fan since I was about 12 years old. I saw Diner, and it was one of the movies that really made me want to be an actor. Diner, and then it was Mickey Rourke and Diner, and then Dustin Hoffman and Kramer versus Kramer, and De Niro and Taxi Driver. There was three, and he was one of them. So it was a dream come true, and to have these great scenes together is awesome.
The film very much hangs on the chemistry between the two of you. Did you have to meet and have a little chemistry test ahead of time?
Yeah, we had a chemistry test at his house, and his door is the biggest door I've ever seen in my entire life, and so I was having a panic attack. But it was really great. It's just funny working with somebody that's a great actor. Obviously makes you better. So immediately we did that scene where he holds up the pancake. But he didn't have a pancake because we were just doing it at his house, and so he had coffee foam, and he just threw coffee foam at me, and then I just threw coffee back at him, and he was like, "I like this kid."
How nervous were you, and did he immediately put you at ease?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what did you say?
How nervous were you?
I was really nervous, but until it came to doing the scenes and the acting, I felt like. It's strange. I was nervous to meet him just as a person because I was a fan of his, but actually doing the scenes with him, I mean, it's easier than doing scenes with, it's easier. The better the other actor is, the easier it is for me. So, he makes it easy.
I believe Tony is a first-time director, and you've worked with, quite a few inexperienced directors, one might say, to great effect. What is the appeal for you of working with someone comparatively fresh? And he's also Australian, which presumably lends a different angle.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was, I started working when I was really young, and at first I'm just trying to be in movies. So I didn't really pick. I ended up, being in movies with a bunch of beginning writer-directors, and that was just because I wanted to be in movies, and I got lucked out that I was in any good movies because I auditioned for a lot of pieces of shit. But as if anybody's, I feel like, are you guys all actors or? Yeah, so you guys have all auditioned for, my arm's bleeding, those kind of horrible, painful auditions. But yeah, what I really love about writer-directors especially is it seems like they've lived through the movie, you know what I mean? They've gone through the entire story, so they know that they see the hurdles, just like an actor does. Yeah, and I like people who are just starting out because I think they're really excited. I've worked with some older directors who are still excited, but some who aren't. You know what I mean? Who are tired because movies are so exhausting. And I think these directors that are as excited about directing movies as I am about being in movies, it's kind of I think it's a good combination for me.
Your character is so critical in this film in terms of developing pathos for Ashby's character, who is, on paper not a terribly sympathetic character. What were the challenges in that for you as an actor?
I guess with the relationship with Ashby, it was just about I don't know, for some reason maybe because I'm weird in the same way that in a lot of the same ways that Ed is weird, I liked him, I mean, obviously and also I think it's easier for Ed to like him than for the audience to like him, just because I'm not seeing him kill all those people. And in a way, I think he does really help me grow. But a lot of the work that I did before doing the movie was just kind of, besides learning to play football, which was so fucking hard, what was kind of charting my journey, you know, from the beginning, just being such a being a coward and kind of being able to think my way around, you know, my issues and not grow to kind of growing into more of a man.
So you're saying you weren't the jock in high school then?
No, I mean, I played basketball growing up, but I grew up in the city, so nobody played football, and then so I showed up 3 weeks early to learn how to play football, and I started playing with that team because it was a low-budget movie, so there's no way to fake it, you know. Wasn't like one of those cool big-budget movies where they could get, you know, a bunch of stunt doubles and stuff to look like me, so I had to actually learn how to do all the stuff, and I showed up, and it really was like that scene in the movie where everybody was kind of laughing at me at this, you know, because I was sucking, and then slowly as I worked, I was kind of a fast learner, and at the end of the 3 weeks, one of the coaches said, you know, if you tried out for the team, you'd be on it, you know, for the thing.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he has to say that. I'm the star of the movie. So. but I think he meant it.
Any accidents while learning football?
Yeah, I got hit really hard in the mud by the bad guy, who's a nice guy in real life, but, you know, I was pissed. But no, he hit me into the mud one time, and I got, I mean, we, like, in the fight scene that I did with Mickey, we were both worried because, you know, he's obviously a boxer, and he's, you know, if he had made contact, I would have died. I mean, that's like, you know, that's the thing that's unrealistic. You know, I would have, if he had hit me in the face, I would be dead right now. And so I was worried about him hitting me, and he was worried about me hitting him because I haven't done many fight scenes, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So he was worried I was going to make contact, so both of us were in kind of a panic mode.
You said that you like to
I have no idea if that was an answer to the question. I forgot what the question was.
That's perfect. You said that you like to ad-lib in movies. Did a lot of that go on in your scenes with him?
Yeah. A lot of that went on, and then a lot of that went on with the scenes with Emma, you know, especially with the scenes with them, and with Sarah. Sarah's really hilarious and comes up. I mean, a lot of those, like when I'm walking back into the house, and she says, I'm also going into the house. This is awkward, right after the fight. That was totally Sarah, and that's so Sarah in real life, you know. She's always simultaneously, you know, she's always making fun of everyone. You know what I mean? It's like she has a way of doing it really geniusly.
So what's Mickey's sort of process, and how did that gel with yours? Did you have to change anything about the way you work?
No, I didn't. I mean, I think the interesting thing is we both, you know, one of the things he liked about me is that we both worked with the same acting teacher. And so we kind of had a similar process. I mean, I just learned a lot from working with him. You know, he's extremely focused, and you can see it in his performance. You know, everything is just so lasered in. And that's since I think, you know, when he was young and all those performances. And then it was we're such different characters that I think we kind of got to bounce off each other and yeah, I mean, I think we actually like to work in similar ways. We both use music and pictures and different things to get us kind of in it. I mean, he's as, you know, he's like, you know, I was saying about the directors, he's been working forever, but he takes everything so seriously and cares so much about his performance, and I hope to be like that, you know, that many movies down the line.
You and Emma Roberts have both been working for a long time, and you did know her from Palo Alto.
I've known her since I was like 11.
Wow.
Because we were both we were on Nickelodeon shows, and we used to do promos together. And you know, I was like 11, she was 13. I had a big crush on her, and then I didn't see her for a bunch of years. And then we did Palo Alto, which I'm kind of a huge dick to her in the movie, so we didn't really like get to hang that much. And then because it would be too hard to just be hanging out, and then for me to be that much of an asshole to her. And then we got to do this movie where I got to, you know, have more of a relationship with her, and so that was nice.
Was it also appealing to you that, you know, in a sense, it's almost two movies in one? We have your story in high school with her and your story with Ashby, right, so beautifully weaved together.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I see that actually more when I watch the movie. You know, like, but I guess I just kind of saw it as one movie.
Were you disappointed not to have more to do with Sarah?
Is that stupid?
No.
Disappointed to have. Yeah, I was disappointed because she was like, you know, she's the coolest lady in the world, and you know, there's a lot of times, especially these, the actors who have been doing it so long and so many movies, and she's doing her stand-up tours and stuff. You don't keep in contact with them after, but she and I have stayed really close friends, and she brings like she's one of the few people who makes me break, in scenes. She's so funny, and like that's never really I never really have that problem, and she's so hilarious. I mean, like she's so weird too. Like in that scene when I leave the room and like he's like, what do you like on picnics? And she's like, sandwiches. That's so her, and like her making fun of the guy, and I don't know.
You have said that you particularly enjoy hanging out with weird people rather than normal people.
Yeah, I tend to get along with weird. Sorry, guys. I have a couple of my friends here. I tend to get along with weirder people more than normal people. Or I tend, normal people scare me.
I have a question from the audience, from Jeffrey Fernandez. What advice would you give parents whose children are starting out in the business, given that you did start at such a young age and so far seem to have turned out very well?
Thank you. I would say that you just have to make it about the work, and to make it about, if you really you have to care about what you're doing and about the acting of it, because you realize, I've already realized, at 20 that the rest of it is so transient and unpredictable, and at the end of the day kind of unimportant, and that all the other stuff like the notoriety and even respect, getting respect from it, even all that stuff is nice, and it's like an added benefit, but I feel like the only thing that keeps me excited about doing this is that I love acting so much, you know what I mean? And I love playing music with my brother, and those I think are the driving forces that keep me sane, because the other stuff is kind of weird, and strange, and can be really wonderful, but I think is not shouldn't be the end goal.
You did want to act from a very young age, and apparently you wanted to act from a very young age, and used to leave notes for your mum, Polly Draper, who's an actress.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I mean, was it in part from watching her work, or was it just in your genes?
I grew up, like my dad's a jazz musician, and my mom's an actress and a writer, and I think I just grew up, and all their friends were these cool artists and writers, and I think I grew up just thinking that's what everybody did, and if I did anything else, it'd be weird. But from an early age, they were so, it seemed so cool, but at the same time, they discouraged me, if it wasn't going to be about the work, and they said that if they could discourage me from acting, they're going to try to, because it's such a hard business, and such an unpredictable and unfair business, and I had to kind of prove it to them that I really cared.
And at what point did your interest in music begin? Because were you not writing songs at 6 already?
Yeah, I had started. I mean, I was more. I first was into music, and I played with my brother since I was really young, and it's been cool. Actually, they stopped the credits right before, but my brother's song is in this movie, like in the credits, which is really cool. Yeah. So what the hell, guys? Come on. But yeah, his song "Where I'm Going" is in it.
So what about your future in music and acting? I know you've met Jared Leto and had some conversations with him.
Well, I met Jared Leto after a screening of Dallas Buyers Club, which shows how old this story is. But I met him at the end of the screening, and I've been a huge fan of his acting forever, and I really like his music and just the idea that he can do both. And so I was talking to him about that, and we're at the same management company, and he was talking to me about talking to me how to balance creatively music and acting, and I finally got up the courage to say, how do you schedule? How do you schedule both these things? And he goes, I have an interesting answer for that. And he started to, and then this beautiful blonde model walked up. He said, 1 second. And then he goes to talk to her, and I was like, I'll never talk to him again, and I haven't. So yeah. So I never got my answer, but yeah, I bet it was good. So I'm still trying to figure out my own way of scheduling without Leto's advice.
Tony French would like to know, what was your most memorable moment on the Ashby set?
Strangely, that scene where we're in the car at the end, and I say to him, did you actually need me? Did you actually like me, or did you just use me for the thing? And then he says, unlike anybody I've ever met before. That scene was the last shot that I shot in the movie, which never really happens. It's always so out of order, and that was kind of a beautiful moment because it was kind of a wild ride doing that movie, and it was nice to end on that note. I don't know why that was my favorite. Also doing some of the football. Oh, we did a football scene where on the first take I caught an amazing pass, and everybody was so pumped about it. And Mickey said, "Man, you can act, but nobody can catch a pass like that." I'll take that. Yeah, which actually I think he was more impressed by.
I mean, some of those scenes are incredibly emotional. Did you get emotional filming them at all?
I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, were you as moved as we were, watching the film?
Oh, just now watching it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is my first time really seeing the movie finished. And that's the kind of the scene that choked me up a little bit just because, it's kind of connected to the experience making it, it's always like I feel this huge hole at the end, anytime I finish a movie because there's so much, you put so much of yourself, I put so much of myself into everything I do, and I spend so much time before shooting the movie working on it and thinking about it and preoccupying my mind. So when they say that's a wrap, it's like, I'm not ready. I'm never ready. I'm never ready for it to be over,
You said that, you've made many films and they have been like families. I know actors say that all the time, but you really
No,
have had
usually
that
it's bullshit,
experience.
but
Yeah.
I mean, not the one but I've been super lucky. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, have you, you mentioned keeping in touch with Sarah. What about Mickey? Did he assume a paternal role for you at all?
Did he what?
Assume a paternal role?
Yeah,
for
he
you?
did. I mean, he taught me a lot about acting, and he taught me a lot about, he would talk about, his career and things he did and things that I shouldn't do and things that I should do and but not in a way that was like, patronizing.
Is there anything you can share with us?
He's, let me think of something good. Yeah, he said to me that that it's all about the moment. You know what I mean? And it's a really good lesson in acting, I think, because everyone can get hung up in their heads on, well, I'm trying, like I said, like I wanted to chart out my transformation, in the character, and you can get hung up on thinking too much and then or being like, I want to please the director, or I want to there shouldn't be that much yelling in the scene, and there shouldn't be, and really he was very focused, that just you have to focus on each moment, that each moment is is more important than the overall will be successful if you just focus on each moment. And that, I mean, I think that's like a brilliant lesson in acting.
So you have another film at the same time, The Intern, which I haven't seen yet, but you do have a scene.
I'm in that movie about as much as I'm in the trailer for the movie. So just so you know, yeah.
But you do have a scene with Mr. De Niro. Do
Yeah.
you now call him Bob? He's another of your icons. And how was that?
Yeah, Bobby and I. No, I mean, I don't know if I ever said his name. I mean, I met him for basically one day, but I was really nervous to work with him. He's another one of my idols, and I didn't have the weeks of rehearsal to relax like I did with Mickey. Like this was, I showed up and it was Travis Bickle and Drake LaMotta and all these amazing characters that Robert De Niro's played, sitting in front of me, and I just thought, because I never know how people are on set, and I'd heard he's kind of likes to be quiet and stuff, so I wasn't really talking. I didn't say anything, and then he turned to me. I was chewing a piece of gum, and he turned to me and he was like, you chewing that gum? I was like, yeah. He's like, are you gonna spit that out before the scene? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, what we used to do with gum? I was like, what? He goes, we used to put it under the table. I said, oh, right, wow. And he said, do it. And so I took out the gum and I put it under the table and I switched it on the table, and he goes, I can't believe that's a set. And he goes, Nancy, the kid just put the gum under the set. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. But it was basically just a way of me, putting me at ease, and, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he loved that I was from New York. He loved it. He goes, "Yo, where are you from?" I said, "New York." He goes, "New York?" Yeah. That's all I got for that story. That's it. I'm trying to squeeze more stories out of my one day with Robert De Niro.
You're still filming in Julius Battle with director James Franco.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, talk about, you know, a departure yet again.
Yeah, I mean it was a really fun role because I got to play, you know, somebody who's a little older, kind of mid-20s, and kind of, you know, I was jokingly saying to my brother, I've done a bunch of movies where I'm coming of age, and I think I have to just be of age at some point, you know, in a movie. And this is that movie, you know, where I'm just. So James and I play these migrant workers, sort of like in Of Mice and Men. It's based on a Steinbeck book called In Julius Battle, and we play these migrant workers that go in and start a strike, and it's just I got to work with Vincent D'Onofrio and Robert Duvall and all these great actors that I look up to, and I got to give these like real rousing speeches on the stage, and you know, it was just a great time. And James is really loose, and it was a wild set. And it seems like it's never-ending shooting because I'm about to shoot again in like a week, go back to it. So I got to get back into my accent, get back into where I'm for it.
That film is based on a John Steinbeck novel, and
Yeah.
you have a very amusing scene in this film in the classroom talking about Hemingway. What were you like at high school? Were you a precocious kid?
I mean, I was a big reader, but I wasn't a great student. So I wasn't quite like Ed. I was a little more like I don't know. I did the one movie that I did that reminded me of myself. That was more like how I think I was in high school. Was I did this movie, Stuck in Love, and he was like a smart kid that didn't really apply himself in school. But I really did. I mean, my focus is. I was pretty focused on music and acting and girls, and then by the end of high school, I kind of got better. Yeah.
Speaking of girls,
My mom was gonna watch this and be upset. I did pretty good. I did okay, but my brother's schooling me right now in school. He's getting like all A's and he's killing it. So it's pissing me off. Just kidding.
Speaking of girls, how are you handling your notoriety? You mentioned that earlier. You are quite popular with the ladies currently, inevitably. How? I mean, you have endless screaming fans at your premieres now. How is it for you?
It's interesting. I mean, it was funny because when I was in Naked Brothers Band, actually, David Levy from the Naked Brothers Band, who's one of the kids is right here, sitting in the front row. If you want to stand up real quick, and he's a really great actor. And so we've known each other since we were 3 years old, and we did Naked Brothers Band together. And we were like, I mean, we went from being really idiotic 11-year-olds to being really idiotic 11-year-olds that every girl in the world knew. And then by the time we were 13 or something, it kind of died away, and I grew, and I looked nothing like I did on the show, and so that was kind of my beginning of realizing how transient and unpredictable this business is, and it really made me focus on taking acting classes and trying to be the best actor that I could be, and that the other stuff was just so out of my control. And then with Fault in Our Stars, with these John Green adaptations, it's starting to be where more people know who I am on the street and stuff, and I'm just happy to talk to them, especially the John Green fans, because they're all big readers, so they're super smart and they have a lot of great things to say, and I just feel so lucky that I get to do what I love on this big stage, and people actually go to see the things that I'm in. It's dream come true.
You said you have no interest in being a lame leading man, but you want to be a character actor, which is not something that most 20-year-olds say. Yes, you did. Does that hold true?
My manager here, he's like shooting himself. I don't quite remember saying that, but I guess.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. So I guess, my favorite actors are a lot of the actors from the '70s who, I guess they didn't rely on just being kind of the vanilla leads of bigger things. They were just all their parts are complex, and I guess what I mean by being character actors that I want to play a lot of different roles, and I know that, I actually do better that way, playing people that, that at first I see as different from me, and then when I start to do the work, I realize that they actually end up being more similar to me than I realize. Because I feel like at the beginning of every movie, I find the things that are like me and the things that aren't like me, and then I kind of fill in the space in between. And usually by the end of the movie, I realize that there are these other parts of me that I've kind of kept hidden, and bringing those parts out to the forefront, and then hiding other parts that maybe in real life I feel more comfortable expressing. But I feel like being a character actor just means that you get to play more, and have more fun, and take more chances.
So what's your next plan after you finish this current film?
I don't know. I'm going to be doing a movie in the fall, and I'm going to keep playing music with my brother. And I guess I just want to keep looking for things that really challenge me. And now I'm at this really, amazing stage where after begging to be in people's movies, people actually want me in their movies. So that means I can take a little bit of a step back and try to just work on things that I'm that I feel like I need to work on and that I'm really passionate about. And I think those are the things that scare me the most.
So can you tell us what it is you're doing in the fall?
No. But it's not a vanilla lead or whatever. It's like a really weird character, really weird character movie.
Presumably you have been offered quite a lot of commercial fare, and it seems like you're very discerning in your choices. I mean, have you had to be careful?
I don't have anything against big movies or commercial movies, but I think a lot of independent movies are horrible. So, I just think I just want to be part of good movies, and with good people, and if it's a big movie, it's a big movie. It's a small movie, it's a small movie.
Any possibility of a Naked Brothers reunion?
Yeah, we're starting it right now with David. We wanted to get. We've all still stayed friends for the most part, and so we wanted to kind of get together and maybe do something. But Alex and I still play concerts, and so we go under Nat and Alex Wolff now. But people come and they want to. We still play a couple of the Naked Brothers band songs, and.
Do you announce them and they sell out in a nanosecond now then?
What'd you say?
Do you announce shows and they sell out immediately?
Yeah, it was cool with it's basically the reason why Alex and I share a social media account, and it's pretty much the reason why we have that is just so we can get people to go to our shows, because I never have anything interesting to say on Twitter or Instagram or anything. So it's basically just shameless self-promotion, but it is amazing how those things really do get people out to shows, and you can reach out to people that maybe aren't watching, late night TV or, things like that.
Are you any closer to meeting another of your heroes, Mr. Paul McCartney?
What?
You're obsessed
is
with
he
the
right
Beatles,
here?
right?
He's here?
Yes!
Bring him out! That would be a dream. I mean, he's I don't know what I'd do. I think it would almost be disappointing because I'd want him to just adopt me or take me in, and you never really get enough. But he is my hero of all heroes. Yeah.
So were your parents big Beatles fans? How did you
they were
discover
big
them?
Beatles fans, but by about 5 years old, I outdid them. I was just obsessive. Yeah. Well, I used to just try to dress exactly like them and have my hair and. My parents this is what we were doing in the 60s, But, it was really crazy about them.
Yes. Were you shocked? I mean, The Fault in Our Stars was obviously a hugely successful book, but it doesn't necessarily translate to a successful movie. We've seen that. Were you surprised at what a phenomenon the movie was?
Yeah, I guess I was. I mean, when it actually came out, I wasn't, because we had done these fan events where we'd go and we'd talk, and sometimes we'd play songs and talk to people, and the reaction from the crowd was insane. And I remember one time doing one of the events, and this girl came out, and she had said her name. She said she was Olivia, and she was talking about her battling cancer and how she had just overcome it, and she burst into tears, and she couldn't keep talking, and by the time she'd burst into tears, it was so intense. I had already forgotten her name. But the entire audience started cheering Olivia, 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 and it was like 3,000 people or something. And I thought, wow, this is something special. You know what I mean? Even more than whatever we did in the movie. This is something bigger than us, and but even bigger than the book. It's like really we brought all these. John Green has really brought all these people together, and the fact that I was just involved in that was amazing.
Will there be anything in the future with him, do you think?
I think I said I got to stop being in all his movies. I think he's gonna get people are gonna get tired of me saying his dialogue, so I gotta let somebody else be in them. But I feel like I won the lottery with both of them. I mean, Paper Towns is probably the best experience of my life making a movie, and I mean, Fault was almost too upsetting to be a great experience. But both of them have been so huge, huge for me. So.
Is it really true you didn't know who Cara Delevingne was?
Yeah, I somehow was the only human on Earth. I mean, I know who she is now, but I was the only human on Earth. See you, dude. I was the only human on Earth who I might leave at this point. Too, I kind of understand it. I really was the only human on Earth who hadn't heard of Cara Delevingne and didn't follow her on social media or anything. And she came in, and she really was that character. This she played. I mean, if you don't know the movie, she plays like this wild child kind of kid, and she is the part, and she blew us all away in the audition room.
What sort of movies were you loving when you were a younger teenager?
Well, I used to sneak in. When I was about 12 years old, I used to sneak into my parents' DVD collection. I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies, but I used to sneak in, and I'd grab all these great 70s movies. So I grabbed Taxi Driver, and Kramer versus Kramer was my favorite. And by the way, you guys can leave if you want. I mean, I'm not going to call you all out. I'm leaving. Yeah. But I used to grab Kramer versus Kramer, Taxi Driver, and I loved Ordinary People, and it was these kind of weird character studies. Those were the ones that ended up being my favorite, and I remember seeing Kramer versus Kramer and Dustin Hoffman in that, and thinking the character reminded me so much of my dad, and I was like, that's when acting kind of transcends just virtuosity or being good. It's that connected to me so personally, and if I could do that for other people, that's the goal. And people have come up to me and talked to me about different characters I've played. Like the character I played in Palo Alto. People said that either they were that guy or they knew that guy, and that kind of means more to me than anything. Yeah.
Gia Coppola said that you said to her about that film, "I just don't think I can play that guy," and she said that's why I want you to do it. How important a moment in your career was that?
That was huge. I mean, I came into the meeting and I said, I'll play the other guy. I can play the other guy, and that'd be easy. I don't know if this is me. And yeah, she said, she wanted, because in the script he was, to the point where I really, I thought it was a great part, but I thought he really was unlikable. He was really unlikable. And she wanted to help me bring the the humor and the lightness and the fun and the kind of make him almost sexy and interesting, and that was honestly one. And then once I convinced myself, once I found it, and that was one of those experiences where I was panicked. I mean, I was panicked before I did that movie, and then once I found it, it was the easiest I've ever had on a movie. Easiest I've ever had. I was so free. I mean, once I kind of let go, and that's a little bit what Mickey's talking about with just serving moments. Once I let go and just kind of, it was the most exhilarating experience, making that movie, and I don't know if I can top that. I mean, it was it was really exciting to do something I didn't know I could do.
So what do you really want to do that you haven't tackled yet? I mean, the next movie is a period movie, which is obviously something very different for you. But
well, I'm
else?
hoping after this movie, the NFL calls, and I can play football. But what was the question?
I'm just wondering what else you really want to do in the future.
I guess I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to keep working with great people, and I hear some allergies in the crowd. I suffer from those as well. I may have an Allegra on me. No, but I want to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I want to keep working with really great people and work on material that I love and keep doing different things. I think I'll just get bored if I keep doing the same thing. You know.
I know. We sure have seen a lot of you this year. You're even in Grandma too. How was that
I know
scene with Lily Tomlin?
I feel like people are gonna get tired of me really soon. That was so fun. I got hit in the balls by Lily Tomlin, which is like, you know, that was great. That was
intentionally or not?
No, she intentionally like hits me with a hockey stick, you know, and it's in the script, you know. But that was fun because I got to play this like a lot of kids that I grew up knowing were these like kind of rich white kids that would try to be ghetto and try to be rappers and stuff, and so I wanted to be like one of those guys. Yeah, just kind of. That was fun.
Well, thank you very much. This movie is out on September the 25th
Thank you so
in
much.
theatres, on iTunes and for digital download. Thank you very much, Nat Wolff.